What is going on, guys? Today I got top 5 ARs for Warzone after our Season 5 mid-season reloaded update. There's a lot of changes that happened, not meta changing, but a lot of balance changes, and I think there's a lot of really good ARs that we could be seeing. There are a little more variety in Warzone. And the first one to start off at my number 5, I have the AMAX. It did get a buff with it's a little bit of a TTK, better damage. But yeah, so far, like muzzle, I would say put on the monolithic, put a monolithic on there. For the barrel, we're gonna go the S440, get you more damage range, obviously for those long range or more mid range fights that you'll be seeing in Warzone and Caldera. Also is going to give you a little more bullet velocity. So I would say the Zodiac S440 is the best one to go here. The underbarrel, I'm going to say the Commando foregrip is the best to go here. You get recoil stabilization. Obviously, that's going to help you at longer range gunfights. With also the aim stability, make sure you're stable, especially with the VLK. It does have a little bit of a bounce to it that we'll be putting on it. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and put on the VLK 3.0 from MW. Still a very good sight, obviously. I don't have T-pose on it at the moment, but you can put T-pose on there as well. Or if you don't have it, then I mean the red dot is I think just as good. For magazine, we only have 2 options here, but obviously we're going to go with the 45 round mag. It's not the most that you would expect that some of the other ARs, we see like 50, 60 as usually as an AR standard for Warzone, or high magazine capacities. But yeah, 45 is going to be the way to go. And there you go. That's our AMAX setup. It's pretty good. Mid and long, it has a pretty damn good TTK, mid range especially. But yeah, I think it's overall a lot better than what it was before. It's not completely meta changing to be top number 1, and I don't think it's really top 3 like I have it as obviously my number 5. But it's pretty damn good compared to what it was before. Next up, we do have the M4A1. It is back. It got a buff, a little bit of a buff, but I think it's a buff that definitely is pretty stronger than what it was before, similar to the AMAX, but I think this has a little bit more of a better TTK and damage output. That's why I find it as my number 4. For muzzle, we're going to go the same, just like any other MW. Usually, the monolithic is the best to go here. We're a muzzle. Barrel, you could go Corvus, but I think if you're especially in Caldera, I think the M16 Grenadier is just the best overall. For Rebirth, if you're playing Rebirth, I would say probably Corvus Custom, which I will be having a video coming out soon. We'll be going over Rebirth weapons separately as well. But just a heads up, like if you want to use the M4, and I think the Corvus would be great for Rebirth, considering it doesn't have as much negative movement speed as the Grenadier does. But for Caldera, we'll be putting on the Grenadier. The underbarrel, again, we'll be doing Commando foregrip. That's kind of pretty much the standard, honestly, for most of the MW guns. For mag, we're going to be going with the 60, the best overall. You could go 50. These kind of go hand to hand a little bit, but I just think that the 60, just have a little bit extra, especially for those longer range engagements that you'll be in. And then optic, we're going to throw on, just like the AMAX, the VLK 3.0. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good setup. I think the M4 is pretty well rounded right now. It's in a very good place as it was before, towards the beginning of Warzone and a few months back. I think it's in a very good spot right now. And yeah, that's my number 4. Up next, we have the Grau. The Grau is back as well. I have it sitting at my number 3 based off it has more TTK than the M4A1, and the range is absolutely insane with how laser-like it can be at long ranges. And I think it's sitting in a very good spot. Muzzle, we're going to go again with a monolithic. Barrel, we're going to go with the Archangel, best barrel out there, I believe, for the Grau. Underbarrel, again, we'll be going with that Commando foregrip, best so far overall. I think most of the other foregrips, I feel like are more tended towards SMGs for MW, but yeah. So the Commando foregrip magazine, we will be putting on the 60. The 60 mag I think is the best, just like the M4. You can use the 50 if you would like. It's kind of personal preference, but to me, I feel like if you have just an extra 10 bullets, especially at those longer range, you can definitely pull that out. For sight, we'll be going again with the VLK 3.0. If you don't want to use the VLK, I would say take it off, put the tack laser on, and you can use the iron sights on the Archangel. The Archangel iron sights honestly are really good. I feel like, though, to me, or my personal opinion, is that the Archangel with the iron sights and the tack laser, I feel like would work a little bit better on Rebirth since you're a little bit closer in range. But yeah, it can work. If you can handle it, it can work. I mean, it's not horrible, but I mean, it works. So it's up to you if you would like the VLK on or if you'd like it off and just throw a tack laser on it. But yeah, the Grau, I think, is also at a very good spot right now. It's like I said, it's my number 3. It's my top 3 AR for Warzone. The TTK is pretty damn good on it. Headshot damage is really good. And yeah, it's a really good AR so far. Have the XM4. The XM4 is sitting at a perfect spot for me, especially at number 2 in Caldera. It is very good. The bullet velocity is insane, especially with this build. You'll be seeing a little bit, especially with the barrel that we'll be putting on it. TTK is pretty damn good. Mid-range, it excels the most with TTK. Long range, it's pretty much a laser. I would say a little bit more of a laser than the Grau, sitting obviously at our number 3, but this is sitting at a perfect number 2 for me. Muzzle will be putting on the agency suppressor. As always, that's pretty much the basic there. Very similar to the monolithic. Barrel will be going with a 13.5 task force. And as I mentioned earlier about the bullet velocity, you get bullet velocity added on this. You get horizontal, effective damage range, vertical recoil, just all out best barrel to have on the XM4. The underbarrel we're putting on the field agent grip, very common for most Cold War ARs or weapons. Horizontal, vertical, a little bit help with a little bit more control for that. A little bit jumpy recoil. For the magazine, we'll be putting on the Stanig 60 rounds. Just more ammo capacity. I mean, to be fair, it does dial down a little bit ADS and reload, but it really isn't a huge difference. And like I said, 60 is usually standard for ARs for Warzone. And then optic, we'll be going with the Axle Arms 3X, which is basically the VLK just in Cold War forms. It has, I honestly like this sight a little more than the VLK 3.0 from MW, just because it has more of the T-pose sights on it. But yeah, here's the setup for the XM4. It's insane, and I think that it's a very good top tier AR for Warzone. Like I said, that's why I have it at number 2, and I honestly like it a lot, even more than the M4. Though just the way that it performs is a little bit better. And the next up right now, my all-time favorite, not all-time, but my favorite AR right now, and I would say this is the top AR in Warzone right now. The TTK is insane on this gun, and the fact of how controllable it is to me insane. I think this is a must try, a must equip for one of your guys' loadouts. This gun is insane. To be starting out in the muzzle, we're putting that GRU suppressor on. It's giving us more bullet velocity. Like I said, one of the things that helps make this TTK insane is that bullet velocity, especially with that GRU. Barrel, like I mentioned before, with the our number 2 spot, the XM4, that the task force is pretty much hands down one of the best for all ARs in Cold War. And then next we'll be putting on the Spetsnaz grip. That is the best so far. I would say you could try maybe the Spetsnaz speed grip if you want a little bit more movement speed, sprinting wise. But I find the Spetsnaz grip to be the best out of all of them. Magazine, we'll be putting on the Spetsnaz 60 round mag. Gives you a perfect 60 round there. And optic, we'll be going back again to the Axle Arms 3x optic. And I'm not even gonna like. This gun is absolutely insane. The way this is set up. I hope you guys try this out. This gun, I don't know, it is very fun to use. That's all I have to say. And yeah, I mean, yeah, it's pretty. It's a very well rounded, and I would make the argument that it is the top AR in Warzone right now. Okay, from honorable mention, I'm gonna be saying the AS44 is very competitive, up there with the STG. Didn't quite make the top 5 cut, but I would say is very competitive, very viable. Muzzle will be going with the MX silencer as always. Barrel, I'm going to be going with the Kovalevskaya. I don't even know how to pronounce that. 615 millimeter. You get your high accuracy and control, damage range. You're not really looking for aim down sight speed, so you can kind of disregard all this. But I think the 615 is the best overall. Maybe you can get away with the Zach 650, but I think the minus of the body damage just isn't ideal, considering that's mostly what you're shooting at from mid to long range gunfights in Caldera. Under barrel, I would say the Carver again would be a great alternative, or not alternative, but would be a great overall weapon. Like I said before with the SCG, maybe you could go with skeletal. Maybe hand stop, but I find the Carver the most success here. It gives you a little vertical control. I find that to be just the best. That's kind of what I went for. I don't really care about hip fire. It's not really obviously your thing. Magazine, I would go for the 7.62's Gorenko 50 round mag. Could go for the 60s, but it dwindles you down with aim down sight speed pretty bad. And I don't know, you could get away with it, but I would say a good sweet spot, just like before with the STG, you get more fire rate and recoil control. And I just think overall that's a little more better. Jesus. But anyways, lengthened is going to be our choice here. Lengthened is pretty much the standard for Caldera, just so we can get our bullets there to our destination as fast as possible. Rear grip, I chose taped here. It has the most pluses, especially to what we need or what we intend to need for Caldera. Aiming stability is kind of what I wanted here, as long as a little bit more of weapon swap quickness as well, I think is the overall. You could get away with maybe like stippled for recoil recovery, but I don't really see you needing that much recoil recovery. I just think that the taped is the better one overall. Optic, again, we'll be going with the G16 2.5. Like obviously with the past few updates, that, where is it at? The 3.6, I believe. It's just not viable anymore. I would stick with the 2.5, the G16. And I would say put the red dot or the little dot reticle on there as well. And then for stock, I'll be going for the Zach 12A. You get more horizontal. There's a little bit horizontal bounce with this gun, but I would say to put the Zach 12A on, as that will help a lot with that. Aim down sight speed, also great, especially if you're making more of a long range build. Movement speed you don't really need, and plus, I mean, mobility goes down a little bit, but I mean, that's not even like horrible if you really want to move with this thing. So yeah, perk 1, I would say disable is the best overall here. You don't really need sleight of hand. The reload isn't terribly slow, like it would be like for an LMG or anything. But yeah, for here, I'm just looking at the bullet velocity, with also the bonus of you're hitting enemy legs. So if you're aiming a little lower, then you can prevent that. And then I would say also here, fully loaded as well for that second perk. And yeah, that's going to wrap it up today, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this top 5 Warzone ARs after the reloaded updates. And make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.